Hello everyone, the Tabletop Blacksmith here. Today I would like to talk about non-player characters. NPCs have been a part of role-playing games since the beginning of video games and beginning of tabletop role-playing games. NPCs are a great way for you as a dungeon master or as a player to engage with a story that becomes much more immersive when you meet these spectacular characters. Popular dungeon masters and even your own game masters employ NPCs to create a very memorable experience for the player.
A very lithe, crooked-looking man, quite elderly, but very spry for his size. You'd see his arms and legs are very lanky and almost spider-like in the way they move and shift as he peeks out, and you can see he has spectacles of two different sizes and thickness around each eye. His hair is kind of frazzled and gray and white. Yes!
Oh.
You said you need black powder! Yes, come in!
It's a great way to immerse and create a narrative for the game that otherwise might be lost by not having non-player characters. We can feel attached to these individuals, we can feel connected, we could feel annoyed and happy because of these different NPCs.
You know, I've heard most of these stories. My mother, Sybil.
Who?
Sybil, a fine gnomish lass. She was some years ago with us. She came across a smooth silver-tongued flautist who blew through like the wind and disappeared.
Now, I've had the privilege to be both a player and a dungeon master in a campaign where NPCs were employed. Dungeon masters, have a generator that you trust and that you have practiced with. I used Don John's RPG tools for a lot of things, but my favorite one to use is the tavern generator, which creates a randomly generated name, a description of the building, a menu that might be served off of a description of the innkeeper, and a description of several of the patrons in there, along with their appearance and their agenda. It's very helpful to practice these tools before you get to the table. If you can envision what your NPC looks and sounds like, then it's a lot easier for you to pull that character to life and to present it to the players. If you'd like, you can pull characters from fiction or fantasy novels or from movies or TV shows and bring those to life at your table. That is an easy way for you to get into a character that you're already familiar with and bring that for the players.
Before you is a giant oak tree with a face on it that looks a lot like Nicolas Cage. He says, "Travel with caution. These woods are home to the bones of many a fallen hero."
If you know if your NPC is favorable or hostile towards the players, then it's a lot easier for you to also engage with the players in a way that sounds realistic and sounds compelling. You can also envision what these NPCs can do for you as a dungeon master to further the storyline. If your players are wanting to go off in the distance away from where your carefully prepared notes are taking them, then use those NPCs to bring them back on track or to create your plan around where they are heading. If the non-player characters that you're engaging with have information about the big bad evil guy, then they can provide maybe some helpful information and insight into a plot point that the characters might not have been privy to if they had just left the territory. Players, get into character. Do you treat NPCs with mutual respect or with open hostility? If you can get into character, it's going to add depth to the game that you are able to create by becoming your player as he interacts with the world around him. Prompt the DM to create NPCs by asking specific questions.
Wait. Doesn't he say something first? You know, maybe in the voice of a beloved celebrity?
Fine. You'd think, after all these years, I'd know not to fly over volcanoes.
If you are at a blacksmith shop, ask what the blacksmith looks like. Ask what he sounds like. Or get directly into character and ask him in first person. "Excuse me, sir, what is your name?" By asking the name, you are bringing a character into life that wasn't there originally. There's no wrong way to play Dungeons & Dragons. Some people come to the table because they love role-playing their characters. Some people love creating a character that is the best at everything. Some people come to the table because they like hanging out with everyone and because they like the snacks. I really hope that this was helpful for someone who just wants to know what they can do to create better non-player characters on the spot. Thank you everybody for making this community a positive one. I love the energy and the positive feedback that I have gotten as a part of this series. I hope that I can bring more out in the future, and it's my intention to come out with at least one a week. It's an honor for me to be part of such a great group of creators and artists. If you like the video, do please subscribe. Let's get gaming, and remember, D&D is life.